You think you guys ready to get started? It's like 3:01 according to my watch. I'm on Central Time, so one o'clock Pacific. So yeah, let's get things rolling. Thanks much for everybody for showing up. My name's Josh Lavick, and we're here doing a little mindset course. Mindset of 25 million a year agents. So that's what that's been kind of what my business has looked like most recently. And here we go. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be a course basically put together some based on some of my experiences. I'll be going through a bunch of material, kind of sharing with you some tools I use and some things like that. And then of course, at the end, there will be a little survey and Q&A opportunities as well. But hopefully some interaction along the way that we can hopefully have a good time and make good use of our time together today. So yeah, for the most part, keep yourself muted unless obviously we're engaging in dialogue during like Q&A time. And yeah, a little bit about me. So I need to update the slide. So I am from Madison, Wisconsin. So we're in the Midwest, South Central Wisconsin, and been in real estate going on actually just over 16 years now, and just finished actually my second year at EXP. So I've been doing this a long time. Most of our business has been single family and condos. Have done some multifamily investments and some commercial, but definitely the bulk of my business has been single family and condos on the resale market. So Madison, if you ever get a chance, is a pretty awesome city. This is a picture in the summertime. It's kind of unique because the downtown, which you're looking at here, is kind of sandwiched between two pretty large lakes, Lake Monona and Lake Mendota. And then, so yeah, right downtown is a pretty cool spot to be. A lot of times you'll find me and my family. We're out on the water. A lot of times we have a boat and stuff. So we try to get out on the water quite a bit in the summer and really enjoy that part of Madison, but definitely one of my favorite times. So 25 million, how did we do that? So actually last year we were just under 25 million. So our business went down slightly. We were just at around 23 million last year. 76 sides, 3 referrals. The year before we did the 24.9 million. So right about that 25 million mark. And it looked like 80 sides and 2 referrals. Unfortunately, it did go down. So this is basically what our team looks like now and what it looked like the year before. Julie in the middle, she's our main admin on our team. And then Courtney, she's the other main agent on our team. And then myself. So I will say probably the main reason our business went down is Courtney did have a few personal issues that she was working through later in the year, and that took up a chunk of her time. So that was probably the main reason, but otherwise we easily would have been at or above that 25 million mark. So anyway, regardless, this is, so I've divided the course into kind of 3 different segments, what we call mind, body, and spirit. So mind, going over a little bit about our schedule, some rituals that I use, some books that I've used that I find helpful. The body, so we'll talk a little bit about diet, exercise, sustainability, and then we'll talk a little bit about spirit, faith and groups and growth opportunities there. So my day starts most days at 5 a.m. Actually, it starts a little bit before then because I have a workout class that begins at 5 a.m. And so I don't know, I can tell you for a fact that my mindset is 100% affected by whether or not I get my workout in. And, I used to belong to a gym. I've always been fairly athletic most of my life, but, went for a number of years where, I just belonged to a local gym they didn't offer any classes really, but you could kind of come in and do whatever. And I'd go maybe once a week if I felt like it, kind of thing. And then I signed up a couple of years ago to a CrossFit. And, I'm not saying you have to join a CrossFit gym, but one of the things I love about CrossFit is there's a coach at every class, and it's a group class, and the coach is there telling you what workouts to do, telling you how to, do things better. I don't have to think about what the workout's going to be. They come up with the workout, and there's added accountability. So, I have to, register for the class ahead of time and tell them I'm coming or not. And so I'm to this day, I'm like clockwork 3 days a week. If I don't go 3 days a week, I mean, my mindset's not right. Like I function better, I feel better, and it's pretty much a non-negotiable for my day. So absolutely helps every single day. So then I come home after a little workout, and that's kind of get my coffee going and get my reading time in. These are a number of books that I found to be really helpful. I've read over the years. What is it? Traction. I read a couple years ago, and that one I thought really helped. Kind of building some of the foundations of my business and that kind of thing. High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. Highly recommend that book. I mean, I think it's great in terms of getting you to focus on the right key habits that can really help move the needle in your business. And, he has, a high performance assessment or something, a tool that he has, questionnaire that you go through, similar to like a DISC profile or like the Myers-Briggs. You guys familiar with that? Chime in if you do. A little Q&A, or a little interaction is okay. But anyway, what I love about it is, it doesn't matter what your DISC profile, right? They say if you're, you can only be successful for a D or an I or an S or whatever in this role. Well, the high performance assessment says, I don't really care what you are, because if you focus on these 6 habits, you will move the needle, and anyone can become a high performer regardless of how you're wired. So really recommend that one. E-Myth, I read that years ago. Still one of the books I highly recommend to any entrepreneur business. Never Split the Difference if you struggle with negotiations. Amazing book. Highly recommend that one. Crucial Conversations, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I don't know. These are definitely some books that have influenced me over the years, and I can't recommend them enough. So and I can share these slides here with you at the end, so you have a copy of this. But one of them I'll mention too quick. It's called Fired Up Selling. It's got kind of that red exclamation point on it. And what I love about this book is it has a whole bunch of motivational quotes in it. So like famous quotes or motivational quotes and that kind of thing. And so in the book, so what I'll do is I'll open up the book and I'll take a quote that, resonates with me, that I like, and I'll put that quote in my email signature. And so it's just, right on the bottom of my email signature, some type of motivational quote. And you might be thinking, oh yeah, that's great. Send it out and, hopefully motivate some other people in the world. That's great. Kind of altruistic and nice. Well, yeah, that's maybe sort of true, but the other benefit is that it's a trigger for me, because every single email that I write, the last thing I look at is the signature. And so, it's sort of that motivational quote that's hopefully inspiring to me and motivates me to want to do a better job. So highly recommend that. What else? I mean, if you're struggling with mindset a little bit, Think and Grow Rich, that's on the top. That's sort of a classic that, it's been around for years. Highly recommend that one as well. And yeah, I guess that's enough on the books, but I'm a reader. I'm always, kind of picking up the next best book as well. But yeah, next part of my day is some journaling as well. So, I'm a huge proponent, like I said, of Brendan Burchard's book. Like I said, he says focus on these 6 habits: clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. How clear are you on your day? Well, if you journal every day and you write down what are your goals, what are you trying to accomplish, the more clear you're going to be. How's your energy? That's why we started with a workout in the day. That's to help manage my energy. Necessity. How important is it that we go into the day saying, this is what I must get done today? What are the things that absolutely need to happen? And productivity. Are we being productive towards those things? Thinking about productivity, or are you just kind of wasting time, kind of browsing the next thing on Facebook or whatever? Are you wasting your time? Or are you being productive? Influence. We got to influence people. We're in the sales industry, and certainly influence is a big part of our day. Courage, obviously, that is a huge part of our day too. Talking to new people, making phone calls, trying to negotiate stuff. Some of that takes big courage, and you really got to think about that. So highly recommend that. But yeah, I'm a huge proponent and advocate of journaling. So whether you do it or not, I definitely think it's worthwhile, and it's really worthwhile looking back, right? You don't always see the value of it until you look back and you're able to see some patterns and trends and notice things. So, I use a number of these right now. Google Keep I probably use the most. I mean, if I go to a seminar or something, I'll just take notes on Google Keep. It's right in my phone or something. And then it also integrates on my computer. Evernote, I've used that for years. There's a number of journaling apps out there. One company I came across also a couple of years ago is a company called Holstee, Holstee. And man, what I love about them is they put together just a series of sort of guides and journals and stuff to kind of get you to think and just live a more intentional life, just make your life more fulfilling and intentional. And if that's one thing COVID has really shown us, I think, is that, are we being as intentional as we could be? So anyway, a couple resources for you to check out. Getting things done, I'll just say, that really influenced me years ago. And one of the things out of that book that I remember is David Allen. He talks about in the book about a concept of almost having a mind like water, right? So you get calls coming in, emails coming in, or, all these inputs. If somebody, stops by your open house or whatever, how do you manage those inputs? And do you have a system for managing the inputs? And how do you get things out of your mind and into your system that you look at, reflect on, and review on a regular basis? So, part of that's your journal, part of that's your note app, your CRM, whatever it looks like, but thinking through and just thinking more systematically rather than try to keep everything up in your brain. So a couple of ideas there. Speaking of brain, guess what? Food influences your brain, what you put in your mouth and in your body. If anybody's familiar with Dr. Daniel Amen, he talks about how, if you can change your brain, you can change your life. Why? Because your brain controls everything. And your brain is influenced by food and what you feed it. So, I'm from Wisconsin. Anybody know what Wisconsin foods are, what Wisconsin's known for? Some famous foods in Wisconsin? Cheese. Yeah, you got that right. It's America's dairy land, baby. I'd eat cheese just about every day. Meat and cheese. Yeah, a specific kind of meat. Yeah, Johnsonville brats. Those are my favorite. So, we're known a lot of German heritage here. So we got brats and cheese and what else? We got some beverages we're known for too. Even got a baseball team named after the Brewers. Yep. So beer, cheese, and brats I could eat almost every day, but if I do that every day, then my brain is not as good and my body doesn't feel as good. So I try to eat a pretty high protein, high vegetable, nourishing diet to try to keep my body. And I notice that I start to feel better if I do that. So if you're not feeling good or you're sluggish or energy is down, maybe look at what you're eating and try to get some better foods in your body. Oh, She Glows for Dinner is a great cookbook. I know my wife uses it a lot because she cooks most of the meals at home, and she's really trying to incorporate more plant-based foods into our diet and just really trying to feel better and try to really change our lives and put us in a better frame of mind. Next part of my day is motivating, just being around my kids. So help get them some breakfast, get some food going. I got 3 boys. 10 is the oldest, and the twins are 6. So, that does energize me, and it helps fuel me throughout the day. So what that might be for you, I don't know, maybe, but find some time in your day to, connect with other friends or family members, or if it's your kids or whoever it might be in your life, but, use that as a motivator. And I think it'll help your mindset and help keep you positive. So, what triggers, I guess, I don't know, why don't you guys share some with me? What do you guys use? What triggers do you have that really prime you and set you up for success? Anybody got anything that comes to mind that kind of sets up your day? Yoga, totally love yoga. I haven't done yoga for a couple of years, with COVID and everything, but yeah, I just like doing yoga. Some mindset, rowing. Yep, I'm doing some rowing. Patient, absolutely. Have to exercise first thing in the morning. Tell you what, it really makes a big difference for sure. Huge difference. Cool. Listen to audiobooks, journaling at night. First words you say to yourself in the morning. Love that. Affirmations, meditating, writing. Yep. All these things are totally true. Cool. Well, I love that, I'm a big fan of too, of trying to incorporate triggers into my day and my operation. And one of the triggers I have right in my driveway is my car. And so, um, this, what I remember years ago, I was on some Facebook group or mastermind group or something, and I had asked if there was any agents that had their car, branded or wrapped or anything like this before. And one of the very first agents to respond was an agent that I highly respected, did a ton of business. She was like on stage and doing all these things, and she immediately posted a picture of her car. It didn't look exactly like this, but it looked very similar. And I remember thinking to myself, boom, I'm done. It's game over. Like, and it was that mindset shift in me that said, I'm not just going to see if I can sell a house. I'm not hoping to sell a house. Well, hopefully I can make a contact today. Hopefully I can get an appointment. No, I'm not hoping for anything. I'm going to make it happen because serious dedicated realtor drives around in a car like this. Like this isn't some part-time hobby for me. So if anything, this is it's a trigger. I mean, and it's a branding and marketing piece. And so, people and people always ask me, it's so funny if people ask me how much, oh, do you ever get any business from it? And I don't I don't I don't know if I get a lot of direct calls, but I will get tons of conversations. People will say, "Oh, I saw your car over in my neighborhood," or "Oh, you were over at the, Target or Walmart, whatever." They see you around town, and it's just that awareness. It heightens that awareness, and when you're calling people in your sphere, and making those phone calls, it's like a reinforcement piece. So it really makes a big difference. So, and for those of you who say I could never do that to my car because oh, well, I drive too fast or I drive too crazy. Guess what? That'll slow down your road rage in a real hurry. So for sure, it'll slow you down if you're afraid of that. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of branding. I mean, we got a moving truck as well, so that reinforces our brand and our messaging. But I try to have a pretty time blocked day. So like I said, 5 a.m. workout. Having my coffee, reading, journaling, 6:15, getting the kids ready around 7:15, having breakfast, and I'm out leaving for work around 8 o'clock. And my office is only actually a couple miles from my house. I don't work from home. I work in an office, and that is by intention. I want to go to an office and I want to be productive. I mean, I know EXP, you don't need an office per se. We've got EXP World and we have a ton of resources, but I made an intentional decision to say, I need an office space that I can go to and focus, especially in that morning time. And that's what morning is for, is really that lead generation and follow up and making calls and staying focused on making those connections in order to book appointments for the afternoon, because that's what an afternoon is for, client appointments. And if I don't have any appointments, then maybe I'm back in the office, making some calls. Lunchtime, try to get home 1 to 2 days a week. And then I also try to connect with someone else, 1 to 2 days a week, try maybe make some new connections, reconnections to old people or other people that I haven't talked to in a while. And then weekends, I'm pretty consistent. I'll only work maybe one weekend day. I try super hard. I don't think anybody should work 7 days a week. And so make sure if you're not taking a day off, I think it's not sustainable to work 7 days a week. So, and I just work some occasional evenings, sometimes people aren't available, but most of the time my last appointment is at maybe 4:30 in the afternoon, and I'm done by 5:30 or so. So I'm heading home after that. And then what else? We do weekly team meetings on Mondays. We also have one-on-ones on Thursdays. If I did end up working a little bit more, either on the weekend or in the evenings, then I'll try to take a shorter day, some time, usually midweek, maybe on a Wednesday. And then our leads, we do have kind of an on-call rotation so that it's getting totally burned out on incoming leads and things like that. But and then try to do closings in the afternoon. So that's kind of how we time block our day and our schedule. All right, so office. What does the office look like? I think, whether you work in a home office or whether you go to an office, I think your office environment matters. Anybody notice anything about this picture that jumps out at you? Come on, you can play along. Dream board, absolutely. Huge fan of dream boards, vision boards. I've been doing them for years. In fact, I'm amazed at vision boards and how they can really just manifest the life that you want and desire. And I mean, but there's a white pickup truck in this in my vision board. Now I'm driving around a white pickup truck. I know I have my other car that's all branded and stuff, but I also have a new white truck. And I'm a huge fan of the mountains. So, those are important to me. I've got lots of binders and folders. Absolutely. A couple of things that I've got ready to go. I mean, if you get a listing appointment or someone calls for like a buyer consultation, boom, I just grab it right away. It's printed off. It's on my desk. It's ready to go on an appointment. One of the things too, I highly, highly recommend if you don't already have it is some type of material about you that you can send to sellers before you meet them. So I'm a huge advocate of, sort of the pre-listing packet, if you call it, or home selling guide, we call it. There's whatever it is. I think that, the seller, if you're going on a listing appointment, someone's thinking of hiring you to sell their house, they deserve to have something before you get there so that you're not going in cold. Because 9 times out of 10, if they don't get anything ahead of time, then you're going to go on that appointment and you're going to give them your spiel about how great you are. And then you're going to go through all your pricing stuff. And then you're going to give them a recommendation. And then they're going to say, oh my gosh, Josh, thanks so much. You've been very helpful. This is just a lot to think about though. So we're going to have to think about it and we'll get back to you. Right. Whereas if you break that up and you send them stuff all about you and your marketing and everything you do before you even get there, now they've had a chance to kind of sit there, digest it a little bit. Maybe they come up with some questions. We want to know more about your social media plan or whatever. It doesn't even matter. You have a conversation about that at the appointment. So highly recommend that. What else? We also have like some lead sheets that are available, ready to go. So, if you're struggling with scripts and you're not sure what to say, print off some questionnaires and some lead sheets that are ready to go. So a couple other things I have. We have, it's not super apparent, but kind of hard to notice. I have standing desks. I've had a standing desk for years. In fact, when I was a lot less successful, I remember taking an old desk that I had, and it was just a normal low desk, but I had some cinder blocks in back, and so I just brought them in and put the desk on cinder blocks. So even if you're not making a lot of money, you could figure out a way to come up with a standing desk because it will absolutely influence your mindset, your productivity, and put you in a better place. So definitely recommend standing desks. I also got a dual monitor setup, so I plug in my laptop to a large screen monitor. If you're not doing that, man, you are totally missing the boat of productivity. So I can barely function on just a single monitor. So definitely recommend that as well. So those are a couple things. These are some of the lead sheets. I was thinking, actually, anybody interested in having some of these? I can load these for you if you're interested. The buyer one, seller one. And then there's my selling guide. I won't give you mine, but I will upload. This is the listing presentation EXP template version that EXP put together. And because I really think that needs to be something that you personalize and put together. People want to know about you, and I don't care if it's 5 pages or 15 pages or 30 pages, whatever it is. It needs to be some type of packet that is about you, your background, what makes you different, what makes you unique, and what's your value proposition to that seller. And if you don't have that, you need to seriously do that like today, and get it done, because someone says to you, hey, Josh, I'm thinking of selling my house. Like, you need a packet of that answers that question. Why should I hire you? So highly recommend that. So there's a couple materials for you to do. And then the lead sheets there. So I built those myself. I mean, I've used others before and they were all, but I always found that when I'm on a call, people are jumping all over the place. I needed room to take notes. So hopefully that works well for you and gives you some space to take some notes on the right-hand side of the sheet there. So, all right, what else? So guess what? Every once in a while you have a bad call, tough negotiation, deal falls apart, life happens, right? Stuff falls apart and it's a pain in the butt. Well, we got a saying in our office, we call it flip the switch. So you get a bad call, you get an inspection that's terrible, a deal falls through, whatever it is. You have a fight with your spouse. I don't know what happens. Flip the switch, because we're not going to live there forever. Feel bad, feel terrible, and take it all in, but like go for a walk around the block, flip the light switch on and off. Do some jumping jacks, do some pull-ups. We got a pull-up bar in our office, actually. Do something to mentally change your mindset and get back on track, because we don't need to live there forever. We need to feel bad. Yep, it was a bad call. It was a bad whatever. Just don't live there. Just find a way to flip the switch and get back on track. So what else? Other things in my desk. I've got snacks ready to go, so I'm not running out. Especially, this is super important, especially I think during that morning sort of lead generation, lead focus time, because if I'm not focused, then I'm not going to be as productive. So I can't be running out to go to the store and get some snacks. Like, I'm just going to reach down right in my drawer and grab some snacks. Got to feed myself. Here's a little close up of the vision board, and these are all things that are happening right now for sure. Lake life is super important. We got a boat. We're on the lake all the time. I love being on the mountains. I take my kids rock climbing. We're going, what else? We're going snowboarding out to Colorado next week. These things are all happening. So what else? A couple other things we have that I think are really good triggers for our mindset as well. And this was one we did when we moved over to EXP, is this full year at a glance calendar. And we put on here all of the key things that matter. So listings matter, closings matter, vacations matter. And so we put all those on there, and then we track it on a monthly basis, and then we total it up on a quarterly basis. And then at the end of the year, everything's on there. And I think what it really does is it's public, it's in the hallway, and we walk in every day and we look at it and we have a conversation, and we think about it a little bit, because I'm notorious for doing business plans that are 20 pages long, and it's buried in my Google Drive folder on my computer somewhere. And I look at it a couple times a year maybe, but I don't look at it frequently enough. And so this large calendar, says where my business is today, tomorrow, whatever, and says where we're at. And it's sort of that sort of reinforcing trigger to myself. Am I on track? Am I not? What do I need to do? What changes need to happen to get me on track if I'm not there? But at the end of the day, it's kind of simple, right? We wake up and we go to work and we work hard and we get some stuff done. So, we got that simple reminder right next to the printer. So it's a simple business. And, Oprah Winfrey, she said this, I love it. Big secret in life is, guess what? There's no secret. Whatever your goal is, you can get there if you're willing to work. And so, I believe that's true. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but it's definitely for those who are willing to put in the work and the time and the effort to go get it. So, but yeah, we also have a bunch of signs around our office. So we align with the EXP core values. We've got those posted, and sustainability and integrity and having a little fun. Those are all definitely something we're trying to incorporate into our world. We got some other signs and posters: set goals and go. Excellence is super important. That's been sort of a pillar of our operation for a long time, right? We're trying to be, top-notch agents. We're not just being the discount broker that's trying to, just barely get by. We're going above and beyond, and then of course going above and beyond and staying hungry, but also humble. Keep bringing humility to the transaction really helps as well. So spiritual growth, I will say, spiritual growth is super important, I think, especially in your mindset, because it can really influence everything. So, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe or not. I'm just encouraging you to explore maybe the spiritual path of whatever that looks like for you. So, I've had a spiritual path where, I'd I think I grew up going to a Catholic church, and then I went to college, and I didn't know what I believed. I didn't believe anything. I didn't go to church or anything. And then eventually I met some interesting people and read a bunch of books, and now I'm a Christian. But again, the purpose isn't to get you to believe what I believe. But I think these are things that have influenced me, that I think have made a big difference in my quality of life and given me more purpose beyond just myself. So, The Reason for God, I think, is a great book. If anything, it makes you think a little bit more about why you believe or what you believe, and maybe lays out some compelling reasons for believing in a God. I've gone on a mission trip. I mean, that was hugely impactful. I went, joined a bunch of guys, and, just helping out people. It was through Samaritan's Purse, and we were cleaning out basements, and just to see the impact on people's lives. So it was tremendous, and going to church on Sunday with my family, and, just listening to that, I think is hugely impactful. So whatever that looks like for you, like I said, I'm not here to tell you what you need to believe, what I believe. I just would encourage you to explore that side of your life, and look for some kind of purpose, maybe beyond just yourself. So, actually, this was a book too I picked up recently, Essentialism. Love this. This talks about the disciplined pursuit of less, right, by Greg McKeown. So if you're feeling super distracted and running all over the place, really a great book. But he in the book mentioned his list of a bunch of books that I thought were all really great, just for getting you to think on a more spiritual, holistic basis, right? And so, Zen, The Reason of Unreason, and Wisdom of Confucius, and a bunch of these things. As a Man Thinketh. Actually, that was a book I read years ago that I thought was really great. And anyway, so a couple things for you to explore and think about, or maybe you got to go to an event. Gee, anybody go to a Tony Robbins event before? They are off the charts. You go there and everybody's hugging and jumping around, and it's like crazy loud and freezing cold and just insane. That's a spiritual event in itself. Pretty awesome thing. And for me, I like going to the mountains a lot. So heck, that's a spiritual moment for me. So I gotta get out to the mountains at least a couple times a year to just kind of rejuvenate and restore, and just fill myself back up. So that's kind of what my day and my life looks like for the most part. So there is, a survey here. So if you can, totally appreciate any feedback you have, that or otherwise, and see if I can figure out how to get that. Oh yeah, there it is. Thanks, Andrew. So there's a survey link, and then the giveaway. There is a recording of this class that we pasted into the chat box as well. Those are the slides, and for the most part, Q&A. Let's open it up. Any Q&A? I'm an open book. What can I help you guys with? Come on, don't be shy. Can do something I talked about or something totally different. I'm open either way. Let's see, what are questions? How are you handling calls in the evening? So right now we do kind of a call rotation. So we'll have one of us is on call for evening calls, and so we break it up on a weekly basis. And let's see, how did I scale my business to scale? So let's see, I think one of the first things I did when I was a solo agent is I started to leverage some help with transaction management. So, helping, I think I paid somebody a flat fee, and they would, help upload stuff to like SkySlope, and, submit things to my broker for review, and help me with missing signatures and whatnot. And then eventually I got busy enough where I hired my first full-time assistant, which actually was Courtney in the photo. She was my first full-time assistant before she became an agent. And my business grew 60% that year, first year, and it more than covered her salary. And so I think if I were to start over tomorrow in a brand new market, to have an assistant from day one, because there's really just too many things to do. And there's just way too much to do. And so to stay focused on, providing good customer service, you need an assistant. So, and then right now, so we do have, and then I also have another, like a virtual assistant that helps with some other marketing stuff as well. But for the most part, it's just the three of us in the office. So, and yeah, what else? How many people right now? There's, well, three. We just brought on a fourth person, so the third agent, and he's very new. First, how much money you need to afford a good assistant? I'd say start with whatever you can. For the longest time, I remember when I didn't have a lot of extra money, I offered what I thought was fair, but on the lower end, maybe of what was fair in the market, so to speak, just because that's all I could afford. If I were to go start over today, I may not do that same approach, but I try to get what you can, and I believe in full-time if at all possible. To me, a part-time assistant is not ideal. It can work for a little while, but I think with a part-time person, you get a part-time mentality. And so I'm a huge fan of paying somebody a base salary that's fair. And, if I need them to stay an extra hour or so, fine. And if I need to flex their hours here or there, I don't want them just on an hourly mentality. I want them more on a salary and like, hey, we're going to get through this, and maybe give bonuses at the end of the year or quarterly or whatever it might be for you. So what else? New agent here, day 2. How do I onboard an assistant? Not really sure how to answer that. I think the main part, if I was hiring an assistant, I'd try to get them to take as many of the administrative tasks off my plate as possible. Bring my suggestion. What point did you hire a showing assistant? That's a great question. So we are definitely exploring the showing assistant model right now. We have not really utilized that much in the past. So, but we're looking at bringing agents on, and if they bring the lead, then pay them a little bit extra. And if the team provides the lead, or and they're just helping to open a door, then paying a little bit lower commission on that one. So, I can really use a couple showing assistants at this point, actually. So, how did you get one? Probably the usual places. Use Craigslist, Indeed, LinkedIn. You can get, there are people all over the place. Our VA is in the Philippines. We use a company called Sphere Rocket. I've used a couple of other companies in the past. That's just the one I'm using most recently. But there's, what is it? MyOutDesk is another company. I know that they do a lot of virtual assistants. I have a lot of experience in that. Those would be, I guess, the two that I recommend. Let's see. The split, I'm not sure what you need for that. Like for showing assistants, so the split for that, we do 10% if it's our team generated lead, and 25% if the showing assistant generated lead. What point did you make a mindset shift? Ooh, that's a great question. Actually, I probably should have started with that. So the mindset shift um, for me started in about year two. So I remember getting into real estate. I was pretty young. I was in my 20s, just moved back home to Madison. All right. I grew up in the Madison area. And I was living prior to that out in Colorado. I was kind of being a ski bum for a few years and, just decided, well, maybe I can't just be a ski bum forever. So moved back to Madison. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. My mom is a realtor as well. That's kind of how I got started in the business. And so started working with her. And then I was like, bartending, waiting tables on the side and doing real estate. And I remember distinctly saying after year two, like, okay, I've been kind of trying this and doing it a little bit, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it like full on 100%. And I remember immediately when I made that mindset shift and that mindset commitment to real estate as a career, my business immediately took off. I mean, immediately noticed an uptick in activity, more leads, more appointments. My energy was better. I got certain awards in our office. I was recognized as like one of the 40 under 40 for business leaders in the Madison area. Just a number of things happened, and it was all absolutely due to that commitment after 2 years. And that could be at day one, or it could be at whatever day it is today. Are you fully committed 100% to real estate as a career? And if you are, then you will find a way to, really bring energy to make it. The other thing I found too with hiring an assistant, I know a lot of agents struggle with hiring an assistant and how much should I pay them and where should I do it? I'm not really sure. And what if I can't afford it? And what if I don't get enough sales to be able to pay for their salary? And then, oh my gosh, it's just creating too much stress. I just don't know if I can do it. And what it does, and I just want to encourage you, because what an assistant will do is it will immediately bring you accountability, because now you're accountable for not just yourself on what you do on a daily basis, but someone else. And so you will show up in a much bigger way, a better way, because you don't want to let them down, right? You don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm really trying to work hard, but I, can't do it anymore. You want them to succeed, right? You're going to bring them on, and now you're going to how many appointments are you going to try to go after and get? So if anything, it'll make you more productive because it's built-in accountability that's going to make a major difference. I really believe every good agent should have an assistant. I mean, there's just too much to do, way too much. Let's see. I'm brand new, mentor, talk to you, listing, 50-50 split commission. Helpful as starting agent to gain experience starting out as time. Yeah, I think splitting listings sounds fair, especially if you're new. I mean, I remember I split a commercial deal I did with somebody a while back because I don't do a ton of commercial. I wanted the expertise of the commercial agent. So I brought him in on it. I still wanted to be so we split it 50-50. So yeah, bringing on mentors and sharing commissions. Absolutely a good idea. Retire my first VA. That was 4 years. And I hired 2 more. Great. Also want to start team. Very cool. Yeah, I think it's all good stuff. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate everybody showing up and bringing some good questions and good energy. I hope I was able to bring some value for you guys today. And yeah, if you're ever in the Madison area, feel free to reach out. We're available to help anybody that you have that might be moving to or from this area. Yeah, I appreciate you guys showing up. again, I'm gonna head out if nobody's got anything else, and you guys have a good rest of your day. Screen please. Hey Josh.